Welcome back to another episode of Movie Mayhem. As always, I'm Spanky.
I'm G.
Usual shout outs to Chucky's Playground, cool place, cool people.
Yeah. What
Uh,
week is this gonna be?
this is going to come out Monday. We're doing all these right on time.
I know, but I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, it's gonna be the anniversary, but it's not because we still have a couple more
No,
weeks.
we are airing this one the day after Jesus got put on that cross and the day before
He's back
he does
now,
it.
guys. He's
Not
back.
yet, not till tomorrow. Don't spoil it. Shh. He's behind the rock.
Yeah. Hope everyone had a good Easter on the.
Yeah,
ends
hope
and
you guys had lots of eggs and they weren't too
chocolate.
stained in Jesus' blood or something like that.
Oh.
The Metal Matt podcast, Chucky 115 Awesome. He made another video tribute that was pretty good. And got a good old pal Simon Gray. With those Ballad of Tiffany Valentine, he added a really big fucking meaty dick of a chapter recently.
Yeah, he did.
It's pretty good. I recommend reading it. So we're gonna get right into this week's movie. This was a first for you, right, G?
Yeah.
Alright, this is a classic movie. It's another Coen Brothers movie. We previously did The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, which I have been watching for some reason every single night to fall asleep.
It works. Coen Brothers, as you know, Big Lebowski, Old Brother, Where Art Thou, The Lady Killers, No Country for Old Men, Burn After Reading, True Grit. This one was actually one of their earlier ones. It came before The Big Lebowski. Stars William H. Macy, Steve Buscemi. Trying to think of who else famous is in this movie. John Carroll Lynch. Or as you may know him, he's the guy who played Twisty the Clown in American Horror Story Freak Show.
Yeah, that's right.
He has a minor role in it. Frances McDormand, she's in a couple other Coen Brothers movies.
Isn't that one of them? Joel Cohen's wife is in this movie.
No idea.
I forget her name.
Joel Coen?
Yeah, she plays the cop.
Oh, that's his wife?
Yeah, it's his wife.
Joel Coen. Joel. Oh, yeah, he is. Since 1984. Alright, so this movie, as I said, it's from 1996. It even spawned TV. I don't know what type of TV series. I haven't really watched it. It looks interesting. It was like a TV miniseries.
Yeah, it was based off of this movie, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a reboot or something. And this is from 1996. It's Fargo.
Yeah.
So, and as far as your Coen Brother movies go, this is right up your alley in terms of what to expect.
Kidnapping.
So the whole plot, it takes place in Fargo.
North Dakota.
Yep. And
everyone from North Dakota sounds like a Western Canadian.
how far is Fargo? Because William H. Macy is one of the main characters. His name is Jerry. And, he's a Minneapolis salesman. But he goes to Fargo, and that's where he does his business. So the premise of this is Jerry, played by William H. Macy, is kind of a shitty car salesman. Let's see. Oh, it's about 3.5 hours. And he needs money. And
Does it say why he needs money? I don't remember.
I don't really know why. I think he's just a shitty, car he's trying to do like a real estate deal, and so he's not like a good investment.
Yeah.
And so the premise of this movie is he wants money, so he ends up organizing the kidnapping of his wife. And Jean, played by Kristen Rudd or something. She has a weird fucking name, and Steve Buscemi is a guy named Carl, and alright, sorry about that. We had a little connection shit.
Yeah, my internet queefed. Ew.
But anyway, Fargo, pretty much, Jerry, played by William H. Macy, is a shitty car salesman, needs money, and he looks into having his wife kidnapped so he can collect on the ransom.
Yeah.
And Steve Buscemi plays one of the criminals. He's like the smart one that does, or not the smart one, he just does all the talking.
Yeah.
And the other one, he just kind of is like the muscle.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't even think isn't he foreign, like his name is like German or something?
Yeah, his name in the movie is Gar Grimms. It's a weird fucking Nordic name.
So the Coen brothers have a thing for foreign kidnappers.
Yep, and so pretty much the whole thing is to have them request a ransom from his wife's rich father.
Yeah.
And at first they were like, Jerry gives them a car and says they can keep half the ransom. But then Jerry is going to try and even sneak the kidnappers by telling his father-in-law that the ransom's even more than what he told them.
Than what it is, yeah.
So then that's kind of one part going on right there. And then it kind of cuts to Marge, who is a Prego police chief.
Why do you say Prego? That's not the... What?
She's
is pregnant,
very
like, not allowed?
Mm-mm. She's all fertilized. No.
Oh, ew.
And she's like she's been there was like a homicide on the road, which was caused by these kidnappers. They killed some people. Mm-hmm. And as they're going...
Homicide!
Yeah. And so she starts investigating it, and that's kind of where this movie kind of takes off. They kind of start getting intertwined, and it's just funny because she's a fucking pregnant woman, and she's doing all this dangerous shit. And she lives a very, like, droll life when she goes home to her husband, who is...
Her husband's a fucking, like, stamp designer or something, isn't he?
Well, I don't know about... He's, like, trying to get Norm... He's an artist, and he's trying to get, like, a duck painting or something like that put on a stamp.
Yeah, and he gets it on a fucking penny stamp.
Yeah, and and that's John Carroll Lynch. You might also know him from Bubble Boy. He's the dad.
That's him?
Yeah.
Didn't even recognize him.
And as I said, he was Twisty in American Horror Story, Freak Show.
So he plays a pussy and everything.
He's the barber in Gran Torino.
Right? Ah, no, he wasn't a pussy there. That was funny.
So, yeah, I really like him. He just has a minor role, and the whole funny thing about this movie is how they talk, because they got that heavy Minnesotan accent.
Yeah, which sounds very similar to, like, Saskatchewan, like, Canadian.
Like, come on, Marge.
Hi, Hod.
Go down to the store and get salsa.
You watch that language now.
Don't you know? Like, if you've ever seen the cartoon Bobby's World as a kid, it's like how the mom talks in that show. Oh, don't you know?
Don't feel bad, Norm.
they do
Everybody
a lot
needs the penny stamp.
So, there's really, outside of, like, that whole plot, there's little minor parts, like, the kidnappers kidnap the wife, and they're kind of doing their own thing, hiding out. You got Jerry, he's trying to cover his own ass.
Mm-hmm.
And the Marge is kind of uncovering his trail, because Jerry gave them a car from his lot to use, the kidnappers. And now Marge is asking for, like, an inventory and stuff like that. And then...
He's fleeing the interview!
and then, like, the father-in-law, who's, like, a dick and he doesn't trust Jerry, he tries to go and do the ransom himself, like, pay the money, and he gets in, like, a gunfight with Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
And he gets killed, and that's when Steve Buscemi realizes there was a shitload more money.
Mm-hmm, so he
buries it in the snow on the highway, and he puts a little snow scraper to mark where it is, because he doesn't plan on telling the other kidnapper.
Yeah, so he could keep it for himself, yo.
And, it kind of all comes to a climax when they end up, like, what is it? The like, foreign kidnapper dude, he kills, he's kind of like an idiot, he doesn't really think much. And he's very violent. He ends up killing the wife they're holding hostage.
Yeah, because she was screaming.
Yeah.
So he just shot her.
And then Carl, who's played by Steve Buscemi, they get in an argument. They're like, we'll split the money and we'll go our separate ways. Because they have the money, what the agreed upon amount was. And obviously, Carl is not sharing the extra money. He's not telling anyone about it.
Yeah.
But then they get in an argument over the car. Who gets to keep the car that they used. And the foreign guy ends up killing Carl with an axe. And then, like...
Yeah, he puts him in the fucking wood chipper.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how this movie ends, because... Marge is, like, interviewing Jerry, and that's when he flees the interview and kind of runs off. And then,
don't you move there. Oh, it's a beautiful day, and look where you are.
And some of the other scenes include, like, Marge talking to the locals.
Yeah.
And the conversations are very simple. He's like, yeah, he just came up here and said this about her, and I said, I ain't that type of guy, and I don't appreciate them type of words, and he said some bad words, and then he kind of left, and now he's not here, and that's that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Do you know a good place for lunch?
And, so, like, it kind of tips off Marge, a bartender that interacted with Carl. So, Marge ends up driving up to where the hideout was.
Yeah.
And that's where she sees the big foreign guy putting Carl's body in a fucking wood chipper, and it's just fucking pink snow everywhere.
Yeah. Stay right there. Don't you move.
And yeah, she's fucking very pregnant.
Yeah. And then he tries to throw, like, a fucking stump at her.
He does.
And she dodges it, and so she shoots him in the leg so that he could stop running, and she just walks up. You're coming with me, mister.
And the funny part about that is, like, the lecture she gives him in the cop car. This over a little bit of money.
Is that Mrs. Lundegaard in that cabin? And that was your partner in that wood chipper. All this for a little bit of money. It's a beautiful day, and you are in here.
And since he killed Carl, nobody knows about that extra, like, $900,000. Because I think Jerry agreed to get him, like, $80,000.
Yeah.
But he really told his stepfather it was $1 million for the bribe. or the ransom.
His father-in-law.
Yeah. And so there's that on that end. And then Jerry has gone on the run, but they track him down to a hotel. And he tries to escape through the window, and he just kind of flails, and he's all miserable and pathetic as the cops arrest him. He's like, ah!
Yeah.
He's very...
Jerome Lundegaard.
He's very William H. Macy-ish.
Very Frank Gallagher.
Yeah, and then it kind of ends on the same, like, odd note. It kind of where, you know, Marge comes home, and her husband, Norm, is laying in bed, and Norm is like, they chose my artwork for the stamp.
for the 3-cent stamp.
And he was disappointed because it wasn't the 29-cent stamp.
And then she's like, oh, don't be disappointed. They need the 3-cent stamps when the postage goes up and they don't have enough.
And that kind of, like, makes Norm feel a little better. And then they kind of, you know, lay down together and they express what you can call excitement about the birth of their child in 2 months, even though they're, like, it's not like they're giddy and whatnot.
Yeah, 2 more months.
And that's how the movie it's a pretty simple plot, but it's just a lot of the interactions that go on. It's just like the accents of the people are so well done.
Oh yeah, it's just so funny. Like whenever, because she's pregnant, she'll be like, "You mind if I sit down? I'm carrying quite a load here."
And she's like puking half the time.
Yeah. Oh, you see something down there, Margie? Oh no, I just have some morning sickness.
And
it's gone now.
And then William H. Macy does a really good job at being kind of like a snaky. Well, he's a used car salesman, so
yeah,
it's kind of fits his character. He's not very good at anything he does.
No.
And then Steve Buscemi does a good job of being that like mouthy asshole criminal.
It's funny when she's looking for people to describe Steve Buscemi, the only thing they could say is, he was kind of funny looking. She's like, funny looking how? Oh, I can't explain it, just funny looking. And
yeah, like a lot of the better moments in this scenes are in this movie are scenes like that where it's just the conversations and it's as Coen Brothers of a movie as you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
So, if you're a big fan, if you like The Big Lebowski, you'll like this movie.
Yeah, and we're big fans of The Big Lebowski. So.
And you know, I will say like there's definitely more possibility in the future of more Coen Brothers movies. There's a couple more. And I highly recommend this movie.
Yeah, I liked it. So
they'll show it on TV time to time, but it doesn't really do it justice.
It's definitely opposite. I think there's like 3 swear words in the entire movie, whereas like The Big Lebowski, it was like every other word was, "What the fuck are you talking about, Walter?"
I've never seen The Big Lebowski on standard cable. It's always on premium channels. So usually they'll show Fargo on like AMC. So I'm curious. And they did the series on FX. They had Billy Bob Thornton, had Bob Odenkirk, who is Saul from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So, yeah, check this movie out if you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, hon.
You'll definitely enjoy it. It's very like, I don't know, like I can't really call it like a dark comedy. It's just Coen Brothers.
Yeah, it's the best way. They're a genre in themselves.
They do their thing. Like it had a $7 million budget.
And it like made $60-something million
in the box office.
Which is like in today's day and age, that's not like what would be considered a financial success. But considering the budget, holy shit, that made like mounds more than what it was. They made their money off of it.
It's called Minnesota Nice accent and sing-song regional accent.
It's called fucking Diet Canadian.
Upper Midwest American English. Which, yeah.
Okay. Is the Midwest not, like, just Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana?
Well, the upper Midwestern states is like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. It can even stretch to parts like Iowa and Montana.
Oh.
That's like the upper Midwest, but the full Midwest would include like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois.
Oh, yeah, I
Missouri.
forgot Illinois. But...
yeah, so. Yeah, it's pretty much southern Canada.
Yeah.
Except their heads don't, like, flap up and down like Terrence and
Shut
Phillip.
the fuck up, man.
You uncle fucker.
Not this, not...
But
I don't
anyway.
have any uncles worth fucking, otherwise maybe.
Ooh. Not even Uncle Buck?
I wish. Again, I don't have an uncle
I'd
worth fucking.
totally fuck Uncle Buck. John Candy turns me on. Even his body
John
right
Candy's
now.
dead, man. You can find his grave in Toronto.
Yeah, he's not going to move much, so...
Ew.
Anyway, we don't know what movie we're going to do next week. We're going to keep these going as surprises.
Yeah.
So, just stay tuned. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay classy.
See you later.